everyone. I'm Denisha Devnarayan, and you're watching the Full Quota podcast on One World Sports Radio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho. I've got Tim here. We're discussing all things today. Indian tour. The Indian cricket team is coming down to South Africa for a tour, and we're going to be discussing all of that. Tim, how are you feeling about this tour, and who do we have up to come on to chat with us? I think Tim is frozen for a moment, but what we do have is Abishek Mukherjee, who's going to be joining us from India, who will be discussing with us all things in the Indian tour, the Indian cricket team. So let's bring on Abishek Mukherjee, the chief editor in the Cricketnews in Calcutta. Hi, Abishek. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. And yourself? As we get Tim back on. Tim, you were a little bit missing there. Tim, can you hear us still? Okay. While Tim sorts himself out, Abhishek, obviously the Indian cricket team right now, it has currently concluded the test series against New Zealand. There were a lot of changes coming out of the World Cup. Rahul Dravid became coach. But let's start with that, with Rahul Dravid. What's the sentiment around India regarding Rahul Dravid? What do you think he'll bring to this Indian side?
Dravid, as you know, is a very respected, one of the more respected cricketers, not only for his cricketing achievements, but for his off-the-field demeanor. So apart from that, Rahul has been one of the more successful Indian captains. That is something not much talked about. India's first win, a test match win in South Africa, came under Rahul Dravid. And there are more, but as coach of India A, as coach of India under-19s, and as the head at the National Cricket Academy in India, Dravid has done a phenomenal job. I think he should fit in seamlessly with this side.
Yes, I think so too. I think we're very excited to see what this Indian side has with Rahul Dravid. You kind of got the whole Kohli and Ravi Shastri team was very aggressive when it came to playing with their cricket. And so it'll be interesting to see how this side is. But looking at that New Zealand Test series that India recently completed, what were the things that you are excited about, that you are happy with from this Indian side?
First of all, beating New Zealand is massive. I think they are still talked about as underdogs. I have no perceived as underdogs. I have no idea why. I mean, they have beaten England in England. They have won the World Test Championship. They were the top-ranked side until this morning. Yeah. And they gave India a run for their money in Kanpur. Not only did they save the match, they were in control in phases. They were the dominant side in some phases during the match. India had to play, especially bat, really out of their skins at Kanpur. So, and New Zealand, I mean, they are virtually unbeatable at home. So beating New Zealand is definitely satisfactory.
Yes, it is. What were the things that you were not that India wouldn't be happy about in this Test series against New Zealand? What areas they'd like to improve?
I think some boxes have been checked. For example, India had a problem with openers, but on the England tour, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul seemed to address that somewhat. Now here, India missed both of them. And as we saw, Mayank Agarwal stepped up in Mumbai. Shubman Gill played the odd decent innings. And Pujara showed glimpses of returning to form. So the one thing that is a bit of concern is the form of Ajinkya Rahane. I understand that some selectors believe in long ropes for some
Mhm.
cricketers. That happens. I mean, you back some cricketers, they have done well, and you give them long ropes, but the competition is too intense, and a couple of big innings are due for Rahane.
Yeah, so looking at the South Africa series, um, I think we've gotten Tim on a better line here. Tim, how's it going?
Finger, fingers crossed this is a better line. Apologies,
Okay,
guys.
That's okay.
that's okay. Don't worry. We're just discussing. We just finished discussing the New Zealand tour. Abishek was telling us about Rahane's form being a worry. Um, Tim, you had a question about Kohli, in regards to the form that you wanted to ask Abhishek, and we'll start from there.
Okay. Yes, I wondered if that was a concern. Obviously, his leadership isn't a concern, but the fact that he's only averaging 28 this year, um, obviously there's been a lot being said about his leadership.
And we seemingly, Tim.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I understood the question about the form.
Okay.
So I think in the four test, I mean, the numbers do, I mean, look particularly ordinary for Kohli, but it's also a fact in the four test matches in England,
Mm.
Kohli crossed 44 times. He did not get the big scores. I don't think I think he got just 250s, but he got 240s as well. So
Yes. Yeah.
that was his contribution from the four test matches. That is, I mean, he's showed glimpses of returning to form. So this may be Kohli's second rise. I mean, here the first innings he got an LBW that had divided opinions,
Mm.
and in the second innings he got out to a rank, what do you call, rank bad ball. I mean, he got himself out essentially. So this may be the series. This may well be the series where Kohli finds his regains his form. The thing about Kohli is he has not looked out of form.
Yeah.
He has got those starts and has failed to convert them. So I believe it's a matter of time.
True. What is the expectation for India coming into South Africa? Obviously, the last tour was 200 to South Africa, but it was a lot closer than South
Mhm.
Africa would lead to believe. What's the expectation here? India are the best. Well, now they're the best test team in the world, and they're coming into a place where they haven't necessarily conquered. They've won tests, but they haven't won a series. So, is the expectation to win a series, or is it to win a test match, be competitive, or
Uh, I think this is the most inexperienced South African batting lineup the Indian bowlers will get a shot at.
mm,
So unless if you basically ignore the 1992 series where everyone was virtually
new?
new to, but they had incredible experience in domestic cricket,
Mm,
and they had been playing against some of the best touring sides in the Rebel Test matches. So they had sort of international experience. But
yes.
the 1992 tour, since then, this is probably the most, I won't say the inexperienced team, but the least experienced batting lineup. So I believe the Indian bowlers will back themselves more than they have on any other tour of South Africa.
Okay. And I think that's the sense we're all getting here in South Africa, is that Indian bowling attack, that fast bowling trio, or your fast bowling group is
Quoted.
well. I don't know if you're going to play four fast bowlers in a test match, but they're very very good, and they're a world class outfit, and so it's they're coming into a place where, just like in England, it assists fast bowling. So that's something that we're all wary about and are excited to see. Speaking about that, are there any changes? Obviously, we saw the final test against New Zealand. India went a little bit spin heavy. Jayant Yadav got a debut. Akshay Patel played. So did Jadeja, as well as Ravi Ashwin. How does the 11 for India look like in that first test at Centurion on Boxing Day?
I won't be surprised if India go in with 4 fast bowlers and 1 spinner.
Okay.
They did that in England.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them do that. But again, it will be that Ashwin versus Jadeja thing. But India ideally are likely to back for 4 fast bowlers, but it will again depend on the pitches. Now, South Africa will also play to their strengths. They will also, I think South Africa know that their best chance is to bowl the Indian lineup twice. So these are going to be, in all likelihood, 40 test matches where we'll see all 40 wickets go down and matches get inside 4 days. Because these are going to be conducive to pace bowling.
Yes, it is. Which 4 fast bowlers do you think India will go into? We saw Umesh Yadav get a game, and we've seen. Obviously, we don't know about the status on Bumrah as well as Mohammad Shami.
Bumrah and Shami are okay. Bumrah and Shami are there.
So they'll be there. Who will be joining them? It'll be Ishant and
Siraj
and Siraj.
Yes.
Okay, and then from a batting perspective, you spoke about Rahane's lack of form. Who are the top 6 batters that India will be looking to bring in? Obviously, we know maybe Rohit and KL Rahul will come in at the top of the order. Does Mayank Agarwal make a play and you drop maybe Rohit down the order? How does that top 6 look like on Boxing Day?
See, in last year in Brisbane, not last year, this year. This year in Brisbane, India were playing. Basically, India reached a stage where they were playing whoever was fit. They reached that stage. So Rohit, Gill, and Agarwal were all fit. India needed to play all 3. Rohit is a specialist, not a special. I mean, now he's an opener, but he was originally a middle order batter. So they opened with Rohit and Gill and pushed Mayank to 5. If all 3 play, I think that is what they'll stick to.
Okay, so will there be a space for KL Rahul, or is he out?
No, Rohit and Rahul will open. Rahul will open.
And Rohit and Rahul will open, and then Mayank Agarwal will bat at 5.
If he plays, then he'll bat at 5 or 6.
Or 6, okay. And from a wicket-keeping perspective, we saw Vriddhiman Saha getting an opportunity. Is Rishabh Pant going to come back in for the batting, even though his glove work may not be the same?
Pant's glove work has improved over over the past year. I won't say over the past few years, but over the past year, it has improved significantly. And either India will play Pant, but Kohli, I think Kohli has been vocal over his about his preference towards Saha. He wants the best wicketkeeper to play. Even if that happens, I think if India play 5 bowlers, it will be too risky to play Saha.
Okay.
They will back Pant.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense from a balance perspective. South Africa also have those questions as to whether, with us, it's whether we leave out a spinner in Maharaj and go with your 4 seamers, or have a bowling all-round in Avian Mulder batting in the top 6 to then be able to enable you to have a spinner in the side. So we've all got, I think South Africa has a lot of questions with regards to that balance, and we'll see that with the squad selections that will be coming out. Have you been following the SAA India A matches, and are there any players in that in that team who will be staying? So is Vihari the only one who will be staying?
Vihari is the likeliest. I don't think I think some of the others might have got a look in, but the competition is too intense. Some slots are absolutely sealed. Vihari, I mean, where do you fit in a fast bowler in this?
Oh, Navdeep Saini got a game in Australia because of injuries.
I mean, because of injuries, someone may play, but See, the spinners. Which spinner do you play? Eventually, Akshar Patel is not getting a game overseas. It is going to be one of Ashwin and Jadeja. There's no place for another spinner.
True.
So essentially, the batting is so heavily stacked. I mean, every spot is keenly contested. The Vihari has a chance. I think this is a theory that there was an when Kohli was left out. When Kohli not he wasn't left out. He sat out of the first Test match. There was speculation that Vihari should take his spot, but the selectors sent Vihari to South Africa. I believe they were having a look at him just ahead of the South Africa tour and allowing the less experienced batters to play at home. But the challenges, I know it's New Zealand, but they will be playing at home in conditions different from what they are going to face in South Africa. They decided to send Vihari to South Africa. Now Vihari has been through this. Ahead of the England tour, he had a county stint.
Okay.
He didn't do well. He didn't get a chance in the Test matches. But I think they are trying to do it again. They are trying to have a look at Vihari in similar conditions. India have been doing this for some time. So in 2018, for example, when India were touring England, India A were also touring England. So, and this has been a conscious strategy. So, essentially, let me give you some numbers. Between 2017 and 19, India A played 24 unofficial tests.
Wow, that's a lot.
That is the same number of tests the New Zealand team played, not the New Zealand A team. So, India played 33 tests. India A played 24 tests. Essentially, and there were several shadow tours. So whoever India were playing, the board was trying to make an India A tour. And remember, they were also trying to provide with similar infrastructure. Remember, there is no. So India A tours invariably run at a loss.
Yes.
So they were prepared to incur these losses to build up the India team, to keep a constant backup. And we saw the significance of that when India toured Australia, and it was essentially a ship of Theseus type squad. The people who started never finished the tour. The net bowlers ended up playing.
Yes, and they did well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the India A tours kept them prepared.
And that's a beautiful thing about where India have gone in the Test arena and what they've done, because it's not because they are world number one by chance or because you have a golden generation. It's because of the hard work that has been put in, sending all these players around the world, letting them play all these unofficial tests, including the 3 here in South Africa. Because I look at some of the players in that India A squad, and they're just very good. And they could fit into any other Test team in the world. But as you say, in your team, a lot of those spots are sealed. So that's a very good thing to note. The one question that I had was, obviously, in traveling to Australia before obviously that Australian tour, obviously India had not won in Australia before. They had to go through a lot of demons in order to be able to win that tour. Similar with South Africa, the record in South Africa is not that great. They've only won obviously 2 in the last 6, but 3 of 21 in South Africa has been quite tough, and a lot of subcontinental teams have struggled in Southern Africa. How is it a concern for the Indian side coming in knowing that they haven't won, or are they taking the fruits of Australia to say, we've done it there, we can do it here?
India actually won in Australia in 2018-19 as well. So 2 consecutive tours, India have won the series. South Africa, it's only a matter of time before mainstream media starts portraying this as the final frontier.
Yes.
That is around the corner.
Well, I'm about to quote it now, but
I just want the hype to not happen. The more the hype, the more the expectations, and I just want that not to happen. I just want a quiet tour. Let the hype happen after the tour.
uh, but are the players? How are the players doing this? Are they just? Is it just a situation where they know they're the better side, and if they play to their strengths, they'll end up beating South Africa?
Um, Again, the India's biggest advantage lies in the fact that South Africa have an inexperienced batting lineup. That is something India know, and I'm sure they have the plans ready. Last time India toured 2017-18. So before that, Shastri took charge in mid 2017. Shastri and the bowling coach Bharat Arun, they took
Yes.
charge in mid 2017, and they pinpointed. They saw videos of Bumrah, and Bumrah was playing first class cricket, but Bumrah was not a big name. He had excellent numbers, but he was not an obvious candidate. Shastri and Arun spotted Bumrah in limited overs cricket in IPL, and they insisted that Bumrah be picked for the South Africa tour. Bumrah made his debut in South Africa, and we know what he did since, what he has done since then.
Yes.
So yes, I mean, the India have made plans about South Africa, had adapted their bowling accordingly. Some had backfired. They had left out Bhuvaneshwar Kumar in one of the test matches. That probably backfired. But yes, I mean, they know they will go all out at the South African batting lineup.
Yes, as you mentioned, they were going to go all out with those four seamers. Are there any players, are there any players that you think are going to be key in the series that the South African fans should watch out for? Because they're the ones that you think are going to be important for India to actually win this tour.
Bumrah and Shami.
From a batting perspective, nobody else, just Bumrah and Shami. They're the ones who are going to do it.
You have to take 20 wickets.
That is very fair. 20 wickets to win the match. And so
you can't win matches in South Africa without fast bowlers.
That is true. And Bumrah and Shami have done that around the world. And now it's time for them to conquer the final frontier. And that is the one that's left for India to conquer. The one that I'm not willing to let go anytime soon because I'm slightly wary. Are there any players in the South African side that you think will cause the Indians a lot of problems? And why?
Same, Rabada and not here.
20 wickets. That's what it is. KG and Anrich just doing incredible things.
Duan Olivier is coming back, right? That's what I read somewhere.
So the thing with Duan Olivier is that the chairman of selectors has called him and asked him if he's available. He has agreed and said he is available for the tour. Duan Olivier, I'm sure you've been watching all our domestic cricket. He's the number one wicket taker.
Yes.
He averages 7. It's 9 in terms of taking wickets. So that's going to be quite exciting. The only problem with that, Abishek, is that having Kagiso, Anrich, and Duan in the same team is very much similar. And so the Indian team would be expecting short balls to come out of their ears and everywhere else. Whereas they may need to try and find a third bowler, and I think it might still be Lungi Ngiti, who is going to come in and give you a little bit of swing. Vian Mulder gives you swing, and I think he's one guy India should be very wary about because he can bowl it very quickly. He's also very accurate with a little bit of swing. And so I do see Duan playing in the test series. I just don't think he'll play together with KG unless if you arrive at the Wanderers on the 3rd of January and it's green and it's hard and
India are unbeaten at the Wanderers. India have not lost a test match at the Wanderers.
Yeah, they haven't because they won 2. I think the first one was Sri Sant's monster game, and then the second one was this last tour where so that could be it. But yeah, so I think for me those are those are the guys. I think from a South African batting perspective, Aiden Markram, his form is something that I think the Indian team needs to be wary of, especially with Dean Alga. I think those two have made a great partnership and they batted well in Test cricket around of this year. But here's the thing about the South African players. Which South African players are famous in India where the South African fans, where the Indian fans, if for instance, like I know AB de Villiers was very famous, but is Anrich and Kagiso, are they getting up there in terms of the fame and the
Yes,
and
they are
the
IPL
notoriety?
stars. They are IPL stars above everything, and KJ is loved. KJ is loved everywhere.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So when he takes wickets, no one's gonna start getting angry. We're not gonna get
No.
some. Okay, Abishek. One final question from me. How do you think the series is going to go? And outside of the bowling, what do the Indian batters need to do to keep themselves in the game? Yes, you need to take 20 wickets, but also you need to put up a score. You need to put up some runs. So what is it that the Indian batters need to do? Because we saw in that World Test Championship, the batting looked a little bit brittle towards the back end of that game. Even that tour in India, it didn't come click that much. But what do they need to do in terms of technique, in terms of mindset, in order to give Bumrah and Shami enough runs to bowl the South Africans?
See, ideally, what I have noticed that in South Africa, I've followed the Indian tours. The main scorers, the most famous innings by touring batters in South Africa have all been aggressive innings. See, I mean, you can start with Kapil Dev in Port Elizabeth in 1992. We can talk about Tendulkar and Azharuddin in Cape Town 96, and you can talk about Tendulkar and Sehwag, Bloemfontein 2001, and then there was in 2011 Tendulkar made 200s, and even in the last series, Kohli played an excellent innings, and Hardik Pandya played an absolute blinder out of nowhere. So, I mean, and in South Africa, you can. I mean, I have seen you can survive. You can play long, hard knocks, but eventually you have to get the runs, and the sooner the better. The South African fast bowlers do not allow any space, any room, any breathing space, and the fielding is excellent, so you don't get anything. So the runs have to come quickly.
Yeah, and I think here in South Africa, you also find it hard being aggressive and being cautious. You can't be too cautious. You also can't be too aggressive. You can do well being overly aggressive, but there'll be times where it might not be a very long inning, so you have to try cash in. Being overly cautious puts the bowling team under a little bit of an advantage, and I think that's something that would be that could play into South Africa's hands. This tour has been marred with a lot of COVID and a lot of obviously news of the new variant, and it moved from 4 to 3. We were hearing news that the Indian players needed to discuss with the BCCI about the tour and everything else. Has that happened? What were their concerns around that? And essentially, obviously, they were always going to be in a bubble. Was the compromise? You're going to play one less game?
Yeah, I mean they are there. I just saw a release of Cricket South Africa release that India are playing the 3 test matches and 1 days. I think there was a release some time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the test matches are happening, but regarding bubble fatigue, I don't think as a layperson I can even relate to what they go through. See, they are either cooped up inside a bubble, living out of suitcases, or they're out there performing in front of millions of people watching live and ready to pounce upon at every fault. So either that or inside a bubble. So this this way of living will get to you at some point. This is, I don't think as a layperson, I can even relate to that amount of pressure, that kind of fatigue. So I think that, but the 3 test matches, if they happen, Kohli is a great brand ambassador of test cricket. He has always advocated for more test cricket. So he will insist on playing the 3 test matches. And if he does, then 3 matches are going to happen.
Yes, and then the big question from me, Abishek, what's your prediction for the series? Is it a whitewash? Is it India 2-1? And who's your man of the series as well?
Prediction 2-1 either side. I'm not sure which one. I'll
It's
take
a
a
final
bold
frontier, Abhishek.
a bold prediction. India 2-1. And I'm being bold. I'm being confident.
Conquering that final frontier.
Yeah.
Who's your man of the series? Who's the player
Bumrah.
of the series for you?
Bumrah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll fall onto the South African side. I'll say 2-1 South Africa. My man of the series, I'll go with Bumrah because I think it's going to be very tight and it's gonna fall in the fine margins. But I think this is the series where Bumrah dominates South Africa's team. Is just that in that one final game at Newlands, somebody scores a monster knock and it just puts all the pressure back onto India. That's how I see it. But thank you very much, Abhishek, for joining me. Sorry that Tim couldn't join, but thank you for joining me. Really loved hearing from you. And we'll probably bring you on mid-series to discuss what's going on if Bumrah's starting to take wickets and doing all these things. And Kohli scoring runs and Rahana's finding form, and it's an Indian party here in South Africa. We'll call you back. Even if South Africa's winning, we'll call you back to find out what's going on. But have a great day. Thank you very much. And yeah, just enjoy. Thank you very much for joining and have a great day.
Same to you. Stay safe.
Sure. Thank you very much, Abhishek. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, that was the end of the Full Quota podcast. Our discussion on the Indian team in the South African tour that's going to be happening soon. Remember, the first game is on the 26th on Boxing Day. We've got Boxing Day cricket, everybody. So that's going to be fun. Please do join us for that. And yeah, all the best to everyone who's competing and everything else. Remember, stay safe and follow all the COVID protocols that are there. Remember, finally, you can follow us on these various platforms. Most importantly, please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel on all of these. We're going to be doing commentary on these games, and so you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And once you're subscribed, you'll be notified when we go live, because when we go live, we'll be bringing you digital audio commentary of the cricket. It's a watch along with all the guys. You'll see their faces. We've got a scoreboard. It's a really lovely time. So please do join us for that. Outside of that, for myself, Mpho, it is goodbye, good night, and lesale kakagiso.